When in the course of virtual creations, it becomes necessary for one player to dissolve the bonds which have connected them to a cherished Minecraft world, and to assume among the realms of gaming the separate and equal station to which the laws of imagination and the principles of digital freedom entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of fellow gamers requires that they should declare the progress made prior to this transition. We hold these blocks to be self-evident, that all worlds are created equal, and that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable features. Among these are building, exploring, and redstone mastery. That to preserve these experiences, worlds are instituted among players, deriving their just powers from the consent of the architect. That whenever any world becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the player to alter or abandon it, and to craft anew, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its biomes in such forms as to them shall seem most likely to achieve happiness and inspiration. Another world has come and gone, and I think I'm about ready to retire this one. But before I do so, I really wanted to kind of go back through and just document everything that I've done. Something you'll notice is that there's going to be a lot of stuff on camera that I'm not going to cover because I didn't build it. We decided to all build really close together this world, and it shows. But I'm just going to cover what I've built because that's the stuff that I want to document for myself going forward. So this is Spawn. Of course, you've got your little starter hut just to like hide in the first night or whatever. And you're immediately greeted with this banner and sign that says, "Come build with us," off in the southwest. And so that's where we're going to head first. As we cross over this little hillside, you see Spawn Village. It did not look like this right away. This was a much later effort of mine. I came in a lot later and just kind of started sprucing up the place. I thought, it was kind of unfair that we came in and depopulated the whole thing, so I threw up a wall around it. I always intended to come back and put the villagers back in, kind of reinstate the local population, but I never did. I wanted to, revamp it and turn it into a cool medieval city first. But I just have this one thing to show for it. What this is a stables and an inn. So you've got your double wide gate here so that you can ride your horse in and stall them in one of these little spots. And then you walk on through here, and this is where you, pay your keep, get your horse a little lodging, and you can go upstairs here to get yourself a little lodging. So this was actually in the little intro that you saw. But here's the common room, here's the barkeep, I don't know what you call that. And then I just have some rooms upstairs that you can make your way up to and take your pick. And there are 5 rooms total. They all look the same. But this is the little medieval inn at the starter Spawn village. Moving on from there, you're going to see our beginner skeleton grinder here for that first XP. Over on your right, that is, right here is a battleship game that I just kind of threw together here. And that takes us to the community iron farm. This was long after we had been established. I had my own personal iron farm, and everybody was hurting for iron and asking me for mine. And so I came and I built this. All the way up here at the top. Let me go ahead and just cut so that you can see it. Yeah, all the way up here, I built a UFO, and this is the iron farm. If I zoom on in here, you can see we've got villagers and a minecart. Oh. My brother was telling me that something went wrong and he wasn't getting any iron. I always thought he was just messing with me because he kept on telling me that, the iron farm's not working. And I'm like, I know you're just clearing it out every time. But no, it looks like the zombie went missing. So that's cool. Anyway, what it would do was just bring this zombie all around and scare the villagers in turn. And they would bring some iron golems to life, which would then fall straight out the bottom of the UFO into this giant cauldron here. In this giant cauldron, they got smelted down, aka, lava blade, and their bits would be flown down this log flume style construction into this, the old ironworks. I had a lot of fun with this one because this is a build where I took it into a creative server, my creative world, and I really looked for like inspiration pics. I went to like old hiking trails that I had once hiked in my youth, and like some old abandoned like power stations from like whatever coal age was associated with those trails. And this is what I came up with, my build. And so if I just kind of take you over to it, you can see there's a lot of different colors, a lot of different materials, and then under here, sorry, I forced a habit there with the tab screen. Under here, I also like hooked it up so that we could have just some automatic bone meal coming in, as this produces obviously iron and poppies. So if I just take you up onto the inside, here we have like this is the big old furnace where they would smelt the iron. I've got a couple of things here, just whatever made sense. You got a lump of coal over here in the corner so that you can keep this furnace smelting. Got an anvil, anyway, and then this is where all the iron comes in, or used to come in before that zombie died. So I really like this build. I'm really proud of this one and the design process that I went through to build it. Moving on from that, this takes us to the valley. I built this gate just to kind of delineate the beginning of our little build area, our community build, where all of our bases were going to be. And once again, I was really proud of this one. This one I did not design prior to actual construction. This one came a lot earlier than that one did. None of this is in chronological order. But I had a lot of fun just playing with like the moss and the mossy cobble and regular cobble and just building this beautiful looking old abandoned gate. Even got the little chains hanging down from the ceiling there. I think it just has so much like atmosphere and weight to it. I love that build. Let me show you my spot. Right there. I had previously done on like one of my first worlds that I ever played multiplayer on with some old roommates, some friends. But I had these kind of cookie shapes sticking out of the side of a cliff, and so I wanted to do that again. So I started with just the one, and then I more recently put the second one in place. But I really went for like a fun little campfire out front, complete with a bed here in case you get locked out at night. Because yes, indeed, my base has a little lockout function where a piston will fire and it will push up the stair and monsters cannot come in if it's nighttime. It's hooked up to that daylight sensor right there. Also, you notice that dispenser right here is stock full of ender pearls. So as I come and I go and I enter and exit this base of mine, I'll always have enough ender pearls for whatever I'm going out to adventure for. And of course, here are the dogs. And I've got so many dogs and cats and pets, which you can go meet because it's almost nighttime. So let's go on upstairs. That used to be my bedroom, and then I built the second cookie shape and moved my bedroom up into here. Let me cut today. Perfect, there we go. So here are all my pets. I've got cats, I got dogs, and then I've also got this beautiful little sitting room down here with a couple of recliners where I can look out on the valley. Again, I'm not going to cover everybody's stuff, just the stuff that I built. Which reminds me, I better cover that over there. You may have seen my video a while ago about a automatic jukebox. Well, that's this in here. I had a whole tutorial about how to put it all together, and then I hooked it up to my favorite little disco ball floor, and then I built this music note. This was heavily inspired by Building with B00, where he was showcasing the power of glass panes and stained glass panes to really just get those little minute shapes into whatever build you're building. And so I used that to build a treble clef shape right here. And this was one of the very first things that I built on this world. Heading back inside my base, it was always meant to be a starter base, but then I just never outgrew it. I just kept on expanding it. And so in here, this is my villager trading hall. I decided I didn't want to just lock them up into the little nooks and crannies like you usually see. So they've each got their own bed and a little community area. There's a little farm in here, and they're just kind of free to roam around. Yes, they're still confined. I don't let them out. But they've got a little bit more wiggle room than the, previous villager trading halls of mine have allowed. This is the little librarian lounge. They got a fish. They love it. And then every day they spawn some iron golems, which go down into here. And this is that personal iron farm that I mentioned earlier. And all of those come out here for me to enjoy. Back here, this is my tree farming room. And the walls in here have been stuffed full of little redstone gadgets here and there. So I've got a honey farm with a little allay stuck in there. This makes me honeycomb, honey blocks, and every so often I just have to come through here and toss my empty bottles back down into here. There's a hopper that picks them up, it cycles them back through. I've got my furnace. I've got a cactus farm hidden behind this wall here. I took a crack at designing my own multi-item filter sorting system, and that's what this is here. I went ahead and built it in my own survival world. And this is all the miscellaneous stuff. Here's some basic overworld minerals. Here's some more basic overworld minerals. And I don't need to take you through the entire storage system. But that's what this is back here. Again, I made a video about this, so if you want to learn how to build it, go and check it out. It's really cool, and I tried to explain to the best of my abilities the thought process behind designing such a system and how it works, so that you can not only build it, but you can also understand it. This corner back here has my enchanting setup. I also went around the world and I collected all of the armor trims, and that was a really fun challenge. And it actually yielded me so many Swift Sneak books because I had to go through so many different, ancient cities in order to get that last hard to find armor trim. In this corner, this is my brewing station. I've got a little water supply here, and behind this barrel I've got a little mushroom farm so that I can make all the fermented spider eyes I could ever need. This is a bone meal farm for the two tall flowers and cocoa beans and glow lichen and propagules, just anything that you need to like bone meal like crazy just to get like some good materials going. This is my tree farm, like I mentioned. This is the room that I grow my trees in. I just have this stash here. I grab whatever sapling I'm looking for, throw it down, wait for it, bone meal it, whatever. And over here is my wheat farm. I've got a guy, he's got his own little villager house back there. And the LAs just swoop in and pick up all the wheat before he can, leave him the seeds. And there's a hopper minecart underneath that note block over there where they deposit that. And it all comes out for me right here. I've got the sounds turned down right now so you don't get spammed with the annoying note block sound. But when I want to, I can just turn that off or keep it on. Moving upstairs, base tour, right? This is a much more empty level to the room here. But this is where I have my chest input. So I'll just step on through here and I'll put whatever items need to be sorted just up here in this large chest, and it takes it away. There's also a pressure plate in this corner you may have noticed. This was my brother. He came and built a secret little base here in mine. So no, I did not build this. He did, but it's part of my base now. So I had to show it off a little. Heading upstairs one more time. Oh, and this is the hallway to my bedroom. Just kind of go up these stairs, and there's that door again. Heading back all the way upstairs here. This is another just decorative place. Like, it's not meant to really serve much function, except for the redstone in the corner that I forgot about. Never mind. But I just thought it'd be fun to build like a little Minecraft home gym. So we got like a yoga mat, we got a squat rack or bench press, there's the bar. We got a water bottle sitting on top of the free weights. We got a exercise ball and a punching bag here. And then this is my foray into auto crafting. Here you see a little bamboo farm. And back there, this is the auto crafter. So it takes all of these, picks them up, turns them into what you call them, planks. And then I can in turn put the planks in these two barrels, and there are auto crafters behind them that turn them into slabs and chests, respectively. And we got a beautiful little splash of color, just a nice mural there on the wall, so that I have something nice to look at whenever I'm up here. Moving on, if I come all the way back down here and look up, what you get is this really pretty forest scene. We got a couple of trees in the foreground, we got some hills in the background, framing a lake. I built that to kind of match my desk map. Back here, this is my mud farm. It works exactly how you'd expect. Back here is my cobblestone generator. I can turn it on, generate all this stuff through some TNT duping action. This is some technology that Doc M77 has shown off time and time again, but I don't think I've ever seen a tutorial put out for it, so I had to figure that out just based off of what I had seen him do. Back here, this was supposed to be a little, pocket XP farm based off of the silverfish spawning mechanic, but I really like allays, and so I didn't want to subject them to it, because the way that works is you're basically just dealing damage to allays forever, because they can regenerate, and then you hit them with a infested potion, and so they spawn silverfish. You kill the silverfish, you get the XP, but it's incredibly inhumane for these guys, so I never finalized it. I tried to figure out a way to use witches instead, because witches can heal themselves too. I figured it was more humane if if it's a hostile mob, but I just never completed it. I did hook up like a auto brewer for infestation potions anyway, but never got around to like putting any mobs in there. And that's it for this part of my base. But like I mentioned, there are all sorts of little like nooks and crannies in here. Oh yeah, here's the sheep farm, all the different colors of sheep. And we got a thunderstorm. Let me sleep real quick. Okay, let's try that again. Let me show this off. Secret passage. Toss that in. Door opens. You have to time it just right. There we go. And that lets you through. Otherwise, it's just a painting that you're jumping into and bashing your head in. This is the main groovy room. I thought it would be cool to just kind of have like a really, really posh sort of an area with all like the high-end stuff. Like you got your stone diamond ore, you got your wither skeleton skull. I've got another automatic jukebox in here. This design actually drops a little diamond into the fire every time that a new song plays. It's like, kind of put a quarter in the jukebox, but I don't really want to show that off because then it'll just play and play and play. See, it's autoplay and pause, and anyway. Yeah, here's this room. It's pretty cool. Down here, this is where I used to have all my chests. I had overworld, nether, and end stuff. I didn't have a lot of end stuff, so that was pretty unused. But this is the room that I had everything in before I moved it into my automatic storage system in the main room. It was just a pain to like try and time that door every single time. So I changed it up, and I brought my storage into the room that I actually use. If I take you up here, this is the Eternal Furnace. I have a little bit of redstone so that every time it goes dark, it spits one more item in, and it's just got all this infinite fuel essentially in the form of lava buckets that get fed through. So every time the furnace tries to turn off, it spits one more sand in there and boots the whole thing up again. See, so right now it's not actually smelting anything, but I just thought it would be cool to have a furnace as a lighting source. So that's that. This is my little hideaway study in the side of a cave here. Obviously, I dug this out, but if we go up here, you can meet Marco, named after Marco Polo, the intrepid explorer. Here he is. Hey, Marco. But this is the exploration room. Got a big old map of all the stuff. See, there's Starter Village, which has not been updated in a very long time. There's that UFO again, and the ironworks, and here's the village. But yeah, right there is my little starter base right here with the cookies you can see. But yeah, I've got notable maps from all over the world, including, what's that? A mangrove, swamp, and savanna. And then I've also got, yeah, more buried treasure, more buried treasure. Yeah, there's, oh, Turtle Fort. I totally forgot about Turtle Fort. I'm sorry, that's not going to make it into this world tour. It's so far away. But there's some coordinates to follow. I've also gone through, yeah, here's Turtle Fort coordinates. I've like documented some of the coordinates here. Old Growth Pine coordinates, Mesa coordinates, Pale Garden coordinates. Here's a lodestone so that I can always find my way home. But this is a cool room to just come to whenever I'm like feeling like I need to go explore. I pick up my little exploration adventure box and I just take off, and it's fun. So this is where I kind of pretend that like Marco's the explorer, and so he's got all these resources at his disposal, and all of this is his little study where he examines the world and charts it all out. So finally, the last little secret of my base here are these passageways here. That'll take you through back to my main room via the enchanting corner. There we go. Ta-da! So that's my starter base. Let me show you what was always meant to be my real base. I always wanted to build something from Portal. If you know the Portal games, you know how atmospheric those are. And so I thought maybe I can design like some Aperture Laboratory, specifically from like Portal 2, like old Aperture. Maybe I can do some of that in this world. So if I take it up this way, it's a long way up to the entrance, but it's a pretty cool approach, I guess. I enjoy it, and that's what matters. But if you played Portal 2, you know that the final exit is just an outhouse in the middle of a wheat field. I didn't have a wheat field handy. I had this big mountain, so instead, that's what we got. But we can just kind of follow this pathway here, Speedy Quick Laboratories, all the way up to the top of the mountain, and where there's going to be an outhouse right there. And the door got left open. But let's begin the long descent into old Aperture, which can be made a little quicker just by swimming forward and holding shift. But it is a very long way down because, of course, we're starting at the top of the mountain, and we got to go all the way into the depths of the earth here. So there's the magma at the bottom. We're almost there. Just bear with me. Once we get to the bottom, it's going to be pretty dark, so if you got to adjust your screen, do so. But here we are. Yeah, just take that in. Just this old waiting area. We got some collapsed bits in the ceiling. Got some chairs, got some velvet rope, and a lot of overgrown stuff. This was a lot of fun to design. And you can even like look outside here into this deep dark cavern that allows for such moody lighting in here with the flickering lights. And then I can take you out into the catwalk. The room across the way never got completed, so I won't worry about showing you that. But here, this is cool. I'm going to have to jump over across these slime bits to get to it. So as long as you just hold forward and you don't lose your nerve, you'll make it just fine. This I was really proud of, because how on earth do you light up a redstone lamp without any visible redstone and make it a chandelier? Well, you just use an armor stand and you put a pressure plate on top. This was before they added the copper bulbs, but had we had the copper bulbs, I absolutely would have used that. But this I think captures the spirit of Old Aperture a lot better. This was taken directly from like a reference photo, recreated the best I could get, and I had a lot of fun designing it. But here are some like workstations and filing cabinets which store a bunch of bone meal, because through this door here, here's the control center for a moss farm. I put some pale moss in there too, so it does both. But when I'm not like in there collecting the moss, picking it up for myself, it all turns into bone meal, because this was supposed to be a bone meal farm primarily. And there it goes. But we're not going to get sidetracked though. This is like a circuit breaker or whatever, but like, yeah, this was a really, really fun build. Just all the moody lighting in here. I thought it was great, and I love it. Still do. Especially the exit. Obviously, there are no portals in Minecraft, so you can't portal your way across the gaps here. But we've got ender pearls, and those work just as well for our purposes. Okay, I'll show you. Bam, never finished. But that's Old Aperture. Just a few more things to see. But these are some bigger builds. Starting with the smallest, we've got this chapel over here, up here in the mountainside. This was a cool project. You got another big old mossy series of gates here. And as you climb, and you kind of follow this path as best you can, because it's a very steep, very crumbly path. It'll take you up across the second gate here, up to this beautiful stony chapel. I love this build. It just feels so cold with that blue in there, and it's just, I love it. I said this before with like the portal stuff, but like I had such a good time designing this and then building it. I'm really proud of this one. It's completely empty on the inside, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be full. Just take it in. Appreciate it for a bit. The cool tones just makes it feel very frigid up here in all this snow. I've got a couple of mini games in here. Most notably, curling. I really enjoyed this one. You just slap a boat down. Oh, I do have a wind charge to demonstrate. Okay. Yeah, you slap a boat down, fire your wind charge, see what sort of a score you can get, and then you and your opponent, you've each got 3 boats to try and like knock each other around and score the highest, and that was fun. Over here, I built a little Space Invaders, which kind of came out looking like the Android logo, gotta admit. But you press this button, and you get armor stands coming down through these lanes, and you have to hurry side to side and like fire arrows with these buttons to knock them out. And then down over here, I've got a shooting gallery inspired by the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You use your bow, you fight more armor stands that kind of come in from the sides here. And if you succeed, if you shoot enough within a certain amount of time, I was gifting out Elytra. I don't think, I don't have them here. I don't know where they went, but that was fun. So that's it for my little minigame section here. But the focus of this spot was this beautiful stony chapel here. Next up, I'm taking you through this terribly underdeveloped nether to make it all the way out to my jungle resort. Portal is built inside of a genuine, authentic jungle temple. And if I step you out this door here, we've got this wonderful little walkway and bridge across to the resort. Of course, that's all this is. It's just the bridge. I never actually finished or built a welcome center, so it just drops right off. Welcome. Here's the boardwalk. It kind of goes around. This is where the guests would stay, in these little bungalows here on the edge of the river. Let me get you to one of those so you can check them out. Yeah, we had like different colors for different rooms: blue, purple, green, magenta, yellow, and orange. But these were neat little rooms, right? You got your bookshelves, you got your barrel for your personal belongings, there's your bed, little crafting bench if you need it, with water access, so you can just kind of jump out the back of your house here and go swimming and go boating or do whatever it is you want to do and climb on back in when you're ready to come back in. If you don't want to swim out here in the open river, no problem at all. Come on back here and you got yourself some volcanic hot springs. Ooh. And this one, you got some waterfall features. You got stairs going right down into it. It's a good time. Gets hotter the deeper you go. Yeah, this one's pretty cool too. Elsewhere on the island, here we see just some rocky shores, and this is your dinner and a show spot. Down here, the cooks, they have their larders, their pantries, their ice freezing refrigerator cave. Here's all the fuel. But yeah, they had roasted on a spit right here in front of all the audience, while you got play actors doing some sort of a show down here on the stage. The actors, they have their props and their costumes back here in this little cave here. Costume 1, costume 2, costume 3, costume 4, prop 1, prop 2, just all the boxes and things, you know, that actors need. If I take you up these stairs, this is where all the patrons and guests get to like sit and dine and enjoy. I tried to make them all face the show here, but you know, some seats are obviously going to be better than others, but we got a few tiers to this. We got some natural life, we got some pigs, we got some bamboo, and this is the big main house here. I wanted to kind of like design this after the Zora Sapphire, where you got like the three circles kind of interconnected, but it didn't turn out the way that I hoped from above, so you're just gonna get this walkthrough instead, because I don't want to, explain why it's shaped like that from above. So that'll be that. We'll move on. But as we're going through here, you kind of notice these big rocky ridges. It's because this is, again, a volcanic sort of an island that we are built on. That's just made up. I decided that it is that way. But it makes for some beautiful beachery here. And a lot of people love to come and enjoy. We got some sand castles. We got some picnics. This beautiful, just enclosed little rocky cove here. Perfect for snorkeling. But don't get too close. And this is in real life too. Don't get close to any like turtle eggs, because they are endangered and you don't want to disturb them at all. But this is kind of to signify that. A little caution tape. Don't get close. Let the turtles be. Let them live. But this is the jungle. My little island. My little resort. Out here, far away from everybody else, which is why we got to take the nether to get there. Ran into a little trouble in the nether, so I took some damage, but here we are. The Spruce Lodge. Perfect just in time for sundown, just like you saw in the intro. But this was a big build, and it took me forever to design, like in creative, let alone build in survival. But I love this little like floral spot here, the little pond right there featured in the middle as you approach. But yeah, this was another where I just like looked at real life photos and got some inspiration. Big old moose there on display. Got some inspiration for a build. And so I went through and I designed the whole thing, and it took forever, and I never actually got all the rooms finished, but that's okay. It's just a game. This was supposed to be, I designed it originally to be like a little landing spot for you in the end, because, who does nice builds in the end, right? Like, nobody on my server. I certainly don't. And so that's what this was supposed to be. So this little obsidian, this is what you're supposed to like spawn into when you first jump through the portal, and then you can like go out the front door and go explore the end, go end busting, whatever. But this was meant to be like a little reprieve, a little retreat, a nice resort when you come to the end. But I just thought it looked too good, and I had to go put it in a better biome, and so I chose a spruce biome here. But we got some dining, right? We got like a bar, we got little family seating over here, we got some just tables and chairs everywhere, booths and whatnot. Back here's a cash register, we got the kitchen, complete with a big old walk-in fridge. That's great. Deliveries come in the back. And then just some massive hearths over here. You can sit next to that one. You can sit next to this one. You can go out to the big bay window and just look at all the nature and the cliffs. Oh, that's right. Yep, my brother let me know that he brought some villagers in here for some safekeeping. That's okay. And then over here, here's the most detailed part of the build. This was supposed to kind of carry the theme forward into like everywhere else, but again, this is a big build, and so I never actually finished that. Here's a beautiful little pool. Got some bathrooms out here. You can get changed in the stalls, whatever you gotta do. And I'll take you on a nice little fly around too. Here's the VIP room up here, complete with his own balcony, or her own balcony. She can have it too. But yeah, some beautiful views out here up on the second level, I think, or third. Yeah, this is definitely the third level. That was meant to be another room. It was just a weird little shape though, so I didn't decide to cram anybody in there. Here's a wonderful view of the presidential suite, which I can just shoot across to you real quick. This guy's got an upstairs. I don't know, maybe the bed can go up there, maybe it can go down here, whatever the guest wants. But yeah, this lodge, this was a really fun one too. Big build though, so I did kind of get tired of it towards the end of building, but then I stuck with it just enough to fill out the Litematica, and then I called it good. Next up, I think might be the last item of business, and I mentioned that this was not done chronologically, and this was not done chronologically, but I did save the most recent for last because it's where my inspiration has been most recently. And so currently, it's the nearest and dearest to me of all the things that I built on this server. So let me take you there right now. You see, I recently discovered a channel called It's Marlow. Marlow has, dare I say, the most calming, relaxing Minecraft content I have ever seen. Ever. On YouTube. If you don't know him, go check him out. He has somehow taken just like the gameplay and breathed new life into it in such a peaceful, beautiful way. And the video that caught my eye, that turned me onto his channel, was the dam that he built. Just this big, beautiful dam with like floodgates and everything. And I was like, I'm going to build it too. And so here's my iteration. And in my world, I call it the Grand Marlow Dam in honor of the guy who first built it. Well, I mean, it's not the same dam, of course. But obviously, you know, if you're inspired by somebody, you gotta give them credit. So I've got this trail. I'm just flying up here to save you some time. Well, you know, I'll try to save you some time, but I'll fall off the side of the cliff. This is a beautiful build. Because if I take you up here to the top of the mountain, get back onto the trail, I can show you the lake, this man-made lake that I put together, because this was all me. I had to place all that dirt that you can see around there, and I'll I'll show you underneath it too. But yeah, I had to terraform like crazy, and it took days and days and hours, and then you fill it up with water buckets from bottom to top so that there are no spare open spaces. And then I built that forest over there. That's, oh, I'm so in love with it. But I'll show you that in just a second, because I gotta demonstrate. You can turn off the floodgates, right? They shut. That's nice. That's pretty. Check it out. Watch it flow. We'll just be quiet for a second. Let me take you to that forest. This was a bit of a low inspiration sort of build. Yeah, I thought, you know what? I'm going to try my hand at creating some custom trees. And I want to create some pine trees. And so I did. It's the same tree pattern, but or the same tree design, but rotated. A couple of them are. And then I got a couple of small ones too, for some variety. And I was so pleased with how they turned out, especially with this forest floor here. Just the atmosphere. But here it is, the little artist's hut with a beautiful pale weeping willow next to it. There's an easel by the lake. This was another design by It's Marlowe. He made a trapdoor uses video, and he had the idea for an easel. And man, it's beautiful. And when you pair that with the resin, ooh, yeah, this is resin, by the way. Resin clump. You can put it on anything, make it look like paint splatters, whatever you'd like. You can tie your little boat to the dock with the new leads on boats. And then, yeah, let me just take you on back here. Here's the artist's hut. I had a lot of fun kind of telling a story with this build. But over here, this is where the artist mixes all their paints. And you can see it's kind of splattered all over the floor. And the artist has a spotted dog for all its color. Her name is Easel. You take the paint, you just kind of splash it on all the walls here, figure out what colors you like best, mix them up, take them out to the side of the lake where you do your painting. And the artist has just a little garden here of all the different flowers. You got some resin, got some beets, just to have a nice, always reliable source of your paints right there. It's just, it's so atmospheric. I love it. It was so much fun to just tell a story with this build. And it's honestly one of my favorite builds that I've made in a very long time. And I was feeling the itch to reset the world for a while now. But it was the inspiration to build this that's kept me hanging on for so long. And I'm so glad that I did, because this turned out so beautifully. And I definitely want to keep on building like this going forward. But that's all I got. Those are the cool builds that I put onto this world, and that I really wanted to show off and document before I retire it. But thanks for checking in. I hope you liked it. I hope you found some inspiration. And yeah, I look forward to playing more Minecraft on a future world. But that's all. Video's over. Thanks for watching.